All right, welcome back. We are approaching the bottom of the hour, and the next feature is called Change My Mind. So I'm going to make a strong statement, and we're going to see if anyone here wants to change my mind. The Chicago Bears did not only blow a game the other day, they blew their chance to make the playoffs. In the division in which they play, they are going to desperately need every win that they can get going down the stretch. And so the play that was made the other day, in part by Jayden Daniels, but mostly by Tyreek Stevenson, is going to cause the Bears to miss the playoffs. Does anyone at this table want to change my mind?
I wish I could, but I can't. Yeah, I think you're probably right. That division is tough. Their schedule isn't that hard, but Caleb's been up and down, so I think you're probably right.
The schedule is hard.
It's brutal.
Remaining. The Bears' remaining schedule
is brutal.
Is brutal. That's my point. They needed to
well, in
be.
that case,
Not that hard to him.
By not hard, I meant really tough.
Yeah.
Slang word.
impossible.
That is good. That is good.
It is actually the hardest remaining strength of schedule in the NFL.
You know how black people switch up what it means? Like,
yes.
when I say you're bad, that means you're really good. That's all he was doing.
The point is, they needed to do. If you think back to when the schedules were released, you know what? We looked at the Steelers and the Bears, the two teams that have all their division games at the end. They both need to bank all of these wins early. The Steelers have done exactly that. The Bears had it. It was right there to be done, and instead they handed the ball to a backup center with his thumbs taped down by the goal line, and then gave up a Hail Mary at the very end in ridiculous fashion.
The Hail Mary, but to the center, it's painful. It's painful for all of us.
The Bears, I mean, this play, Hawk, come on.
Yeah, no, not who I would have given the rock to. I know Jeff Saturday loves to get touches to
for real
guys who are 300 plus, but wouldn't recommend it.
I mean, I kind of want to. That's kind of on Caleb. Like, you got to put that ball down, you got to put it down in the gut, bro. You can't put it up on the shoulder.
That thing would have bounced off that gut so
We're
fast.
too big, though. You got to put it down. Put it in the bread basket. Put it in the bread basket.
It's already bread in that basket.
That basket is full.
Yeah.
Y'all haters.
It's already bread in that basket.
And it's not gluten-free. All right, so that's our first change my mind. No one wants to do it. Now, sometimes with this feature, I will cede my time. So I will cede the next change my mind to the esteemed gentleman from the state of Maryland.
I mean, I technically actually live in D.C.
Okay.
Yeah, clear. I mean, yeah.
All right.
Was that necessary? Did you have to? We're in a flow.
It matters.
No one would know the difference.
ooh, they know
Okay,
there.
I cede my time to the esteemed gentleman from the state of Wyoming. Go ahead. No one knows where you live, Nick.
They
Go.
know I don't live in Wyoming. I know they know that. They can look at me and say, that man ain't from Wyoming. But my position is that Jayden Daniels should be the MVP. I staked this take out yesterday and earlier today, and I've been waiting for somebody to make an argument to change my mind. He took that offense from being 26th in the league by EPA last year to first in the league. He took a team that we all thought was a bad situation with an offensive coordinator that we all kind of snickered at, and Cliff Kingsbury, and a head coach in Dan Quinn that no one was climbing over themselves to hire, and now this team is one of the best teams in NFC. Their defense is starting to improve. He's doing magical things, and also the most important part of my MVP argument for him is that you normally protect rookie quarterbacks, and rookie quarterbacks who have good seasons are the quarterbacks that you don't ask much from. They're asking everything of him, and he is coming through, and then he has those big moments in those prime time games where he takes a hit in his chest in zero coverage and throws a perfect touchdown pass, has a Hail Mary. My guy is looking like the MVP, whether you guys like it or not.
He's looking good, man, and you're right. They don't spoon feed him at all.
Nope.
He almost always knows where to go with the football, which is just, it's rare for any quarterback, let alone a rookie who is so early in his career. That being said, Lamar Jackson is the MVP. I mean, yes, we were used to it. We've seen him win MVPs. We've seen him have incredible seasons. But even the way that he's played this year, specifically in the pass game, has taken his game to a whole new level. He leads the league in passer rating. I think he's number 2 in touchdown passes. He's on pace to throw for 4,500 yards, 36 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions, and rush for over 1,000. I mean, I don't want us to get bored.
Yeah, no,
I do think that's part of it with Lamar. It's like the Mahomes fatigue. Now I think there's Lamar fatigue from the standpoint of like, okay, the guys already won 2 MVPs. We want to see them get to the playoff. Like that, we want to see them get to a Super Bowl. Like that's really, you're talking about narrative earlier.
Well, so my problem with this has long been, and I'm now an MVP voter in the NBA, and my problem with this has always been in the NBA that we sometimes decide it's someone else's turn.
Yeah.
Which is why when you look back on it, look how many MVPs Michael Jordan and LeBron James didn't win.
Right.
Look, how many years were they clearly the best player in the league, and we didn't give them MVP because it's a narrative award and we want to give it to someone else? So if you want to say that's a reason to give it to someone besides Lamar Jackson, that's a bad reason.
Yeah.
I like your reasoning on Jayden Daniels, which is the elevation of an entire franchise that he has brought. If you're going to underline the V in MVP, just how valuable he is beyond just what he's done on the field, I'm actually on your side.
The reason why clarifying that I'm from D.C. matters is because I am there. The fans believe it to be a cursed organization.
Yeah.
Like they thought they could never get right. This man shows up and it feels like a prosperous future. And I don't want to argue against Lamar Jackson. Like he's great. I think what you're saying is right. But we talked about this earlier and the point was made that if you take Lamar off of the Ravens, they're a middle of the pack team. I think that's true. You take Jayden Daniels off of this team, they are in the draft evaluating quarterbacks. This
They've
is
been
entirely
where they've
different
been,
thing.
which is
yeah. So the narrative part of this is sometimes uncomfortable, but I do think it matters, and all that he's overcome in this situation, I think is slightly more than Lamar Jackson.
Find yourself making a case against someone else. No one is trying to diminish Lamar Jackson. He's unbelievable, having an incredible season. Jared Goff, unbelievable, having potentially an historically great season. But if you're going to take the V in MVP literally right now, I agree with you.
In the league by EPA.
All right, let me cede my time now for our third element here in Change My Mind to the esteemed gentleman from the state of South Dakota, and that would be Andrew Hawkins. Hawk?
Born and raised. Mike Tomlin is the coach of the year, okay? Look, they come into the season with two quarterbacks that nobody wanted. And there's always a saying, if you have two quarterbacks, you have none. Well, what is the result? They're 6-2 and on top of the AFC North. Not only that, he makes a decision mid-season that people in his own organization were scratching their head at. But still, he stood on business, and now we're sitting here applauding what the Steelers have, and now we're calling them real-life Super Bowl contenders. And not only that, if you remember a year ago, in the quarterback situation they've had, how there was contention whenever they decided Kenny Pickett wasn't going to start, what his reaction was. Even with all that turmoil, decision-making, Russell Wilson and Justin Fields are kumbayaing on the sideline, in the meeting rooms. Like, he has a hole in this locker room that gives them hope, and they know he's the clear leader and decision maker that they trust unequivocally over anything anybody says on the outside.
Are you from South Dakota or the state of hyperbole? Why are you saying that they are clear? Who's saying they're clear Super Bowl contenders?
They are Super Bowl contenders. Did you see that defense?
I think we'll see them match up against some other guys, but this year the AFC feels a little weaker. Like, people seem beatable. There's nobody out there. They're comfortable against the Ravens. I think they're
comfortable with everybody in the AFC North. They are.
And then the Chiefs is defense versus defense, and I understand we all would probably pick the Chiefs over them, but they're a real contender.
Here's my only pushback. Second pushback. Is Dan Quinn not cooking too? If the brother from D.C. is talking about.
No, we're getting the credit to Jayden Daniels over there. We can't give it. Somebody got to get the credit, man. Somebody got to get the credit.
Well,
a guy that you literally were like, nobody thought Dan Quinn would go down.
Or Kingsbury. He ain't called a single offensive play.
So Mike Tomlin being coach of the year is an interesting one. The Steelers, you just maybe inadvertently brought up an even more interesting question, which is, are the Steelers a legitimate Super Bowl contender? And I think it's worth pointing out that while no one on earth looks at him this way, Russell Wilson is one of, I believe, 3 active quarterbacks in the NFL who have won Super Bowls. Rodgers is one. Oh, no, and Flacco. Yeah. So I think there's only 4. Like, Russell Wilson has been there and done that. We don't view him that way. The diminution of the way that we view Russell Wilson is so extreme from what happened in Denver that perhaps we're overlooking the fact that this guy does have experience taking teams deep into the playoffs.
He has experience, but let's not get carried away. Like, I think he falls closer into the Aaron Rodgers category of past his prime. The reason why this team would win is because Russell can manage the game. I think every 10 years, 1 or 2 teams win a Super Bowl without a superstar quarterback.
Yep.
This could be one of those years. And Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, they're not on that level. And I know he's been there before, but what we've seen so far does not suggest that he's that guy.
The reason why Mike Tomlin is the coach of the year is because the Steelers are a good football team. It's not Lamar Jackson. It's not these single points of failure on the offensive side of the ball. Their defense is extremely good. And what Russell Wilson is doing is what the Jets hoped Aaron Rodgers would come in and do. Manage the offense, make them productive, don't hurt the team, and make sure your defense plays the way that they play, and you'll have a chance. So if Russell Wilson continues to play the way that he has over the last 2 games, they are absolutely a Super Bowl contender.
If Tomlin isn't, and we're seeing their outstanding defense, which clearly, look, their defense is excellent. The Chiefs are a defensive team. A lot of the AFC teams are teams that rely on defense. Now, the Chiefs also have Patrick Mahomes, so that sort of makes that seem
just an average
irrelevant.
Guy.
If Mike Tomlin
MVP talk.
If Mike Tomlin isn't the coach of the year, who is?
Oh, I'm going LaFleur. Green Bay, they've had to deal with Willis. You know, Jordan Love's been hurt. They have faced. I mean, he had to bench a wide receiver that is very valuable to him, brings him back into the fold. Now he's productive. I think LaFleur has done a fantastic job of managing issues to continue winning in the NFC.
I love that, and he made a great in-season acquisition of hiring Robert Saleh. That was a great move because it's hilarious to bring Robert Saleh over to the team that Aaron Rodgers left, and they're winning more. It's incredible.
Can I say this?
Coach of the year.
Set that one.
I know.
Set that chef's kiss.
Do you know that last year, Mecole Hardman caught the winning touchdown in the Super Bowl? And if you had told me before the season began that was going to happen, he was on the Jets.
Yes.
Robert Saleh could win the Super Bowl this year. And if you had told me before the season that was going to happen, I would have thrown the biggest party in the history of New York. He could win the Super Bowl for another team.